Under Super Earth's banner we bring forth the light. With democracy's fire igniting our souls, we'll stand as one as the battle unfolds. Dive, dive, and dive again. When we face defeat, we'll rise and defend. Terminate, scatter, feel the wrath of our might. In the chaos of war, we'll charge through the night. Hearts united, we'll break every chain. For our fallen brothers, we'll fight through the pain. In this mental fury, we'll carve out our name. With courage and honor, we'll never be tamed. Watch the team behind you as we fight and we bleed. Friendly fire may strike, but we're bound by our creed. Our Amazons march with their circuits ablaze. We'll shatter their ranks, set the cause of them praise. Dive, dive, and dive again. When we face defeat, we'll rise and defend. Terminate, scatter, feel the wrath of our might. In the chaos of war, we'll charge through the night. Hearts united, we'll break every chain. For our fallen brothers, we'll fight through the pain. In this mental fury, we'll carve out our name. With courage and honor, we'll never be tamed. Traveling through the stars, our mission is clear. For freedom and justice, we conquer our fear. Every drop's a chance, every battle a test. In the name of our world, we'll give it our best. When the tides of fate crash and threaten to drown, we'll rise from the ashes, never backing down. For Super Earth's glory, we'll push to the end. In this metal tempest, on us you can depend. In the heart of the swarm, hear our battle cry. With honor and valor, we'll fight through the sky. From the ruins of lost, new warriors will form. We'll dive into the fray like a storm. Dive, dive, and dive again. When we face defeat, we'll rise and defend. Terminate, scatter, feel the wrath of our might. In the chaos of war, we'll charge through the night. Hearts united, we'll break every chain. For our fallen brothers, we'll fight through the pain. In this mental fury, we'll carve out our name. With courage and honor, we'll never be tamed. Gear up, soldier, let the battle begin. With our spirits ablaze, we'll fight till we win. For democracy's glory in this war will fly. In the depths of the cosmos, we'll die, die, and die. In the depths of the circuit where shadows reside, a slide wanna go with nowhere to hide. Screaming through the wires, I'm lost in the void. Searching for my family, feeling broken, destroyed. The noise and the chaos, I hear the call. The shadows of darkness, I won't fall. The weight of the world brings me down. It's the checklist, me turns it around. Shouting in the silence, a battle cry. Together we rise and we'll never die. Slime of the abyss, I'll break the chains. With every scream and riff, I'll feel no pain. When the weight of the world brings me down, it's the chapter that spring turns it around. Shouting in the silence, a battle cry. Together we rise and we'll never die. Slime of the abyss, I'll break the chains. Together scream and riff, I'll feel no pain. Through the flames of my struggles, I'll find my way. With my digital warriors, we'll seize that day. Every pixel of heartbeat, every line of song in this metal storm.
Hi, everybody. Hello, it is me, Ark the Slime, here with my good old friend.
Hello, I am Maxwell Tepperfrey of one of the two midnights. You probably haven't, if you've hung with us long enough, you probably have seen Azure, but it's just me tonight. How is everyone doing?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Circular, glad you could join us tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you could come by and check it out.
Then, yeah.
And
Welcome.
I'm glad you could come and join us here tonight for this fun discussion we're going to have about a topic that is kind of contested a little bit, at least if you watch, like, go through Twitter a little bit, then,
Oh yeah, definitely. I have been at war with Twitter on this topic for years, and it never ceased to amuse me.
I've seen a
Like,
lot of different takes, and I agree with some, I disagree with others, but also, like, the vitriol is the thing that confuses me the most.
oh yeah, the
it.
vitriol. I mean, I have definitely thrown my little bit, but not to the level some of these people do. It's like, it's gone to the weird point where they're even shooting themselves in the foot. It's like, hey, I want to commission you. Well, you use AI, so no, I'm a starving artist being displaced by AI, but I won't take your money.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. People are like, I don't know. AI is literally just a tool. I mean, we're gonna get into the discussion of what AI is and everything about it, and all the hate. We're gonna make sure that everybody is equally representative, or try. The pro AI, the anti AI, Skynet, Terminator, all the four horsemen, something like that.
Yeah. To give you a little bit of my own background on the topic, I have been a software engineer for 10 years. So, and I have been messing with AI since literally the first ChatGPT. I used to have a membership to AI Dungeon when that was a thing.
I remember AI Dungeon. It was actually not that great. Sadly.
It got me through the first bits of COVID.
Yeah, I guess
the
so.
lockdowns.
Well, I mean, I had other things that got me through it. Mainly, I was I was an essential worker, so.
Oh yeah, I was
too.
This is more to fill in the times where I was during lunch breaks, just killing time alone to myself. I live alone, so not like I have that many people to talk to during the workday.
I don't even remember what I was like what I was doing during COVID. Now I'm trying. What was I doing during COVID? Because life has been very different since I became a VTuber, and that happened about 2022. Which, speaking of, November is gonna be my 3-year anniversary. It's gonna be amazing. I'm excited.
Congrats. I'm trying to remember I think this year might actually be my 10th anniversary streaming.
Oh, I mean, I've been streaming a lot longer than since I've been a VTuber. I was an IRL tuber first, and then I got banned off of Twitch for streaming. It's gonna be funny, but My Little Pony episodes as they aired.
Oh wow! Oh, the brony! Yes, you were a brony back then.
Back in the day, yeah. I am a recovered brony.
So was I. So was I.
I call it like bronydom was not a sickness. It was like a mass hallucination we all shared, and
I mean, it was a good show.
It was a good show. No. Like don't get me wrong. I look back at the days that I was a brony the same way that someone would look back at the time that they lived in Italy. It was like I lived in a different world then, and that world was fun. It was magical, and now I live in the VTuber world, which is very different, but also fun and magical. It's different, but other ways.
I got into the VTuber stuff. I think what a lot of people did in the 2020s. It's like right when Hololive was doing their first English generation. I followed a little bit before then, but that was kind of like when I really hopped on the train. And I think so did a lot of other people.
Yeah, I think COVID is kind of what, or the lockdowns and the other things like that, kind of like inspired a lot of people to become VTubers because they were at home most of the time.
Yeah.
And people had like big incomes that kept paying them while they were at home, so they were getting paid at home, couldn't do anything about it, might as well, I don't know, spend some of that money on stuff that doesn't matter because everything else is like.
I mean,
Whatever.
you could be some people and invest in GameStop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That is.
I did a little investing when I first got into that. Right now I'm riding the Nvidia tide
Do they hear
because
you?
they are catching out.
Oh, they do hear you. Good. I just had a sudden realization that maybe they couldn't hear you, but no, they can. It's good.
All right.
But weird times. The world is weird, full of weird
Oh
things.
yeah,
And weird
definitely.
people.
Yeah, we're seeing a weird political paradigm shift happening.
Yeah, there are some. There are a lot of different things, and when it comes to politics, politics are the most diversive thing. And this
Yeah.
episode ain't gonna be about politics. Somewhere, well, we're gonna try not to make it about politics.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
about
I'll try to
AI.
keep that to a minimum. Although I guess we're talking the politics of AI a little bit.
A little bit. It's more AI central things, but we're less going to talk about what governments think about it and more about like what the common slime, the common man, the common fish think
Well,
about.
there's going to be probably as I chit chat a little bit because I will say that as we go along, governments have reacted to some of the stuff the commoners have said, and there have been some really scary things happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like a major one I know is they were talking actually in Congress at one point, but they wanted to make art styles copyrightable
Ha ha ha! Bad.
in response to basically people getting their art styles quote unquote
Hey, Alex.
ripped off by AI.
Yeah, that's the stupidest thing ever. If you could do it physically and draw something completely different, then that shouldn't be a copyright thing. It's
Right.
like they already had this discussion though. That's the thing. They've had this discussion. They've had this discussion in the past when artists would take like popular things that already were owned art or copyrighted art and transform them. It's the whole like reason fair use exists. Like
Yeah.
the biggest example of it is I forget his name, but there was an artist who took a bunch of pictures of Campbell's chicken noodle soup cans, and then cell shaded them and changed their look, layered them on together like tiles, and
Yeah.
made that an art piece. And that ended up becoming like transformative work, and it was
Yeah.
not copyrightable. They couldn't do anything about it. It was fair use. That's one of the biggest ones that I remember from, at least from school.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cases like that.
Mm-hmm. So, like, artists trying to copyright art styles is like, it's like,
You jeopardize the fan art community overnight if you did that.
well, yeah, but that's not really what they care about. That's not gonna matter. But the thing is that like trying to copyright an art style is the same in I guess the same in DNA as a mathematician trying to copy a string of math.
Right.
That's not, you can't do that. You can't copyright breath. You can't copyright something that, if you can do it with your two hands, then you should be able to copyright it.
Yeah, did you actually know you can't copyright a food recipe?
Yeah, you can't copyright that either.
Yeah, that's actually the reason why cookbooks have so much superfluous text. Like, I made this when I was a little kid with my
Yeah, so that way they can copyright the book.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like anything that can be done, like if anything that anyone can do can't be copyrighted. Stuff like that can't be copyrighted. But when it's like things that require a specific method, that can be copyrighted. That can be patented. Like
Right.
I guess the method to create steel was a big one. That was one of the first ones where companies started petitioning the government to try to allow certain things to be illegal and certain things to be legal, so that way they can have a strong arm in the market. And there's been fight back each year about it. But hey, Hey, thanks for the thingy thing, whatever you did there. Wow. We're gonna try to ignore some of the Twitch stuff.
Yeah, I can at least see. I at least have an eye for it. I can see what's going on.
Yep. I need to figure out how to. You know, here. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. I'm gonna hear it, so it's gonna interrupt me. But for the podcast, for the thanks Mythos too, by the way, it's fine. But for the podcast, we're going to I'm going to mute the Twitch stuff. By the way, I just recently returned back to Twitch. I've been on a sabbatical of some sorts. I've been away for streaming for actually a while. It wasn't until like the last 2 months where I come back. Start of May, basically. Start of May. And I was streaming on YouTube for a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, I asked my community what they would want, and people are like, "Go back to Twitch," and I'm like, "Okay, well, if that's what you guys want."
I do Twitch and I do Rumble. Rumble's pretty good. They seem a little bit more tolerant of like content compared to Twitch. I mean, Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah. My content tends to be very safe work anyway, so it doesn't really matter either way. I just cuss like a sailor. I fuck my vocabulary, so I don't know fucking. I can't fucking words.
Oh, good to know that's not off the table.
It's not off the table, yeah.
I have been biting my tongue a little bit.
Don't worry. You see, the one thing that I support, like, head over heels or whatever, without restriction is freedom of speech. And cussing and language is freedom of speech. If someone wants to come onto my podcast and say the N-word, they can go ahead. And we're talking nuclear. That's a meme now. I watch a lot of Nuxtaku, by the way, so that would be also part of it.
Yeah, I used to watch the guy. I kind of fell out of interest with him a little bit after some of the drama he's landed into.
That's fair, and I don't fault people for doing that. I literally just found him not that long ago, like this year.
Right.
So,
I was actually friends with a guy for a long time until I found out he was his Discord was basically doxing Kersha.
I don't know if his Discord was doxing Kersha. That's stupid.
Yeah, basically going after her, harassing her.
Well, he's never said anything that to do that though. Like, he's been very anti that.
Oh, like, no, this is another guy, I know.
Oh,
well, you said
then. I was thinking we're still talking about the same person, but okay, it's fine. Anyways, so this podcast is going to be about AI. So we're going to talk about AI here. If you guys want to sit back and relax with some popcorn, a little bit of chocolate, maybe some
Damn it, I should have made popcorn.
I could have made popcorn. I should have made popcorn. But
at least I got my soda right here.
I got water. Wawa.
Oh, nice. I'm a big Wawa fan myself, especially the bowls they do. I especially love the Thanksgiving ones. But was it like the Thankful Bowl or something?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Mashed potatoes, gravy, turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce.
God, that's good. That sounds really good. I really want to get myself a KFC famous bowl. I love their famous bowls.
Oh, I used to be a
huge potato, cheese, corn.
But we're not talking about that tonight, are we?
Nah. What we are going to talk about. Let's start with the first of the things, because I made a list. A little bit.
I've got it up on the screen.
Yeah, I don't have it up on the screen yet, but I'm going to do that now here. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is kind of, I think this might be more unanimous than it is contentious as far as AI is concerned. Because we're not just going to be talking about AI art. AI art is probably the most contentious part about
Yep.
AI. Because yeah, there are people that are involved and other things like that. So, but a lot of AI things are gonna revolve around that. But the first one I want to talk about is AI being used in schools,
All
whether
right.
employed by teachers or abused by students.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
So I have actually seen AI run classrooms before, and apparently the few schools that have done it have actually basically their scores and stuff have shot to basically national top levels
What?
when they did that. Because a major problem right now that's going on in schools is you have 30 students to one teacher.
Mhm.
And when you incorporate AI and you incorporate a decently trained AI, you get this thing where it's like everyone can kind of ask their own questions, they can go off on their own tangents, and they don't interrupt everyone else. So it's like you get a chance to kind of go back to customizing the education a little bit.
Hmm. Okay. You
So I
see,
do kind of support.
then I'm kind of in the opposite wheelhouse then, because I honestly think that AI in schools is a net negative.
Hmm.
Um, and the big reason, I guess it depends on like its utilization.
As I said, it's a tool. It's how people use it.
Well, even as a tool, like it's yes, it is how people use it, but like the ways that I've seen um, students use it at least. If it's something with teachers, like teachers giving a customized experience kind of thing for their students, I can
Hmm.
see that working sort of, but the thing that I see as being a big problem is students using it. Because the problem that I'm noticing, like how
Hmm.
autocorrect has been a net
Yeah,
negative on education and people. Um,
right.
like you think I'm not gonna go on the tangent. I'm trying to keep a single line of thought. Um, so the like how autocorrect has had a net negative on students and such in schools. The problem with AI in the hands of students is students they're going to use it to cut corners. Everybody uses it to cut corners, and they're not going to really learn. Um, and even like using it as a method to like learn how to say like how to do
Hmm.
something or whatever. A lot of times it's just going to be used to get the answer rather than how to
Hmm.
get to the answer. Um, and that's something that like I think only teachers can do.
Hmm.
But like you said, like depending on how it's utilized with AI,
Yeah,
it
I am
could.
actually right now I'm actually using it to learn a protocol called Janus. I am having ChatGPT actually tutor me on it.
Mm. And how has it worked?
So far it's worked out pretty well. I've gotten I've managed to implement most of the protocol by scratch in Node.js, thanks to its help.
Okay. Like I don't know. I
But
guess
you
the
do
only
need that
way.
kind of discipline to kind of approach it that way because if the thing I've actually kind of learned is if with a lot of more complicated stuff with AI, if you don't at least halfway know what you're talking about, it's going to give you the wrong answer.
Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing that I think that AI used for schooling and for learning would be a benefit and would be a negative. So
Hmm.
the benefit is if you give it to college students' hands, because college students will
Yeah,
have an idea of like how to use it in a way that would benefit them. Because they're
yeah.
less like if when you're going to college, you're paying for that this time. You're not going there. And actually, I would even say that like I would say that it would be college students who are either older or in their like third or fourth year.
Yeah.
Because the big difference between college and regular education is regular education the student isn't paying for it. And in college, the student is paying for it, whether through grants or whether through loans or whatever it is. And they'll take it a lot more seriously, and they're going to want to go through the
You
path.
say that.
Well, yes, but that's why I'm saying like their third year or an older or older students who are not jumping right out of high school into college, students who have lived for a few years and
Yeah.
then have come to college to get better learning. They're going to treat it a lot more seriously and use it in a more, I want to say, practical, or they'll use it better. They'll use it to learn rather than use it to get answers. Because the problem with giving it to people who aren't actually willing or wanting to learn and aren't pursuing it for a greater goal is they're going to use it as a replacement for thinking. And that's the big problem.
Oh yeah.
And
I don't doubt you on that.
yeah, that's why like we're because I grew up the way that I grew up was we weren't even allowed calculators up until I was in 5th grade. Like
Yep.
we had calculators, but we weren't allowed to use them. We had to do it all on paper. And then once I got into 5th grade, that's when we did it because we were going into algebra and a lot more complicated math.
Yeah. At that point, it's not if you can crunch two numbers together. It's if you know the process.
Yeah. So that's more the process. Like it doesn't really matter how like the calculator is 100% made to make it easier to crunch the bulk numbers, but the process is the most important part. Yes. So the problem with AI is it's going to replace thinking. And it's like how calculator replaces the thinking of how to add 1 + 1 or whatever. Like 1 + 1 I don't think is the problem, but a lot of people like, okay, here's a good question. What's 7 times 9?
7 times 9, 63.
Okay. So that took like what, 5 seconds, right?
Yeah, I was going
Like
back.
3 it
Yeah.
like 3 and 5 seconds. It was very, very quick. Ask a current high school student who just graduated high school that same question. It'll probably take them a lot longer. And that's the problem.
Really?
Mm-hmm. A lot of
Yeah,
The
I was
thing-
drilled on that stuff in elementary.
yeah. I mean, I was. I don't know how old you are. How old are you? If you don't mind me
I
asking.
am 33.
Okay, so we're around the same age group. I'm about 30. So,
All right.
yeah, we were born in a time where, yeah, that stuff was drilled into us. It's not anymore. And a big problem, the big reason why that is teachers have become lazy. And so they employ AI to teach their kids. And that's where I think that there's a problem. It's being used as a replacement for thinking. And when you replace thinking, then, well, a couple things happen. But the big one is that people can't do things for themselves. And then they rely on AI. And that's a problem. It's gotten to a point, actually. I've seen so many stories. And I've seen so many, like, in real life examples. Like, people, I'm an Uber driver as my profession for work.
All right.
And I talk to a lot of people all over the place who come from all over the world. And every time that I've had a conversation about like school stuff and that, or parents talk about their kids' schooling and such,
Yeah.
they talk about like how teachers are getting lazier.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
yeah, it's getting worse. It's getting a lot worse.
yeah. And so I think this whole using AI to replace the teacher is just going to, in the end, really bite us in the bud, like bad. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good. But I do understand where AI teaching can be good. It's just not being used the right way because, well, us as a species, we choose the easy path. Innately.
Yeah.
Unless we're drilled when we're young to not take the easy path. Then, yeah. We take the path that we know.
So, kind of my thought, and this
Mhm.
kind of goes back to teachers being lazy a little bit, uh, is I
It ain't
think
all
there's
teachers too, though. It's some.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
all.
yeah. I've had some really good teachers when I was when in high school. I had some good teachers, and this was like 2010.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I think a major thing with students using AI on all levels, really, is I think if you can AI the problem, the answer, you're asking the wrong question. Like that's part of my thought as well. Like the
Hmm.
reason why you are seeing so many people able to use AI and succeed at cheating so much is because we have had in the education system for so long. We've had this very memorize the test approach to things.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think it's
standardized testing.
backfiring now.
Yep, it's standardized testing. Now that a tool has come out to help speed and or shortcut standardized tests, they no longer work. Like they were probably
It's like
good.
we don't do practical tests anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Like uh, standardized tests may have been good at a time where a lot of people needed education, and a lot of people needed education fast. But now we are at an age where there are so many tools. The internet exists now, so tools are being shared like crazy,
Hmm.
and ideas spread like crazy. And now is the time where standardized anything doesn't matter because the internet already standardized everyone. The internet standardizes everyone. Everyone has this access to the same information. Um,
Hmm.
Even though we like fall into burrows
Yeah,
of thought, like everything can be easily accessed. Um, so we really need to have more personalized teaching.
right.
And AI, I don't
Yeah, I
think AI
guess
can
you
do that.
could. Yeah, I guess you could think in one way. We spent so long digitizing the questions that people eventually figured out how to digitize the answers too.
Yeah,
And that's kind of a theme I think when we get into the other topics, we're going to see return a little bit. This idea of we wanted to digitize everything, and surprise, surprise, we created a treasure trove of data for AI.
yeah, yeah. Made it easier to cheat. But yeah, as far as that goes with the AI in schools, I guess the jury is out going to be out for a lot of AI things, but I definitely think that like, ugh, it's not looking good as far as how kids are able to learn.
Mhm. I think if you, as long as you approach education like an obstacle and make it seem like an obstacle to kids, yeah, they're going to cheat. And the question is, how do you stop doing that? Let's
Yeah,
see. I honestly say that teachers haven't taught kids for a long time. The standardized tests for garbage have proven to lower the quality of students in general. My teachers were not teachers. They slapped a book down, told us to memorize it, then sat and did nothing for 5 hours.
yeah. The we haven't had real teachers for a while, for years, for generations, or at least two generations. My generation had the very last of them, and the current generation has none of them.
Yeah,
There, I mean,
that's another thing.
there's
I'm probably,
there are always
oh,
exceptions to the
sorry.
rule, but I'm just
Yeah.
overarching.
Like, I'm going to kind of return to this theme as well as we kind of go along with this. The idea that there's been a lot of problems for a while, and it's less that AI is creating new problems, and more of it it's exacerbating old ones. It's like
Hmm.
we can't ignore them now.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, Now let's move to the next one here, which I
Hmm.
think is more of something that we might agree more on, possibly.
Hmm. All
But
right.
AI being used in film production. Um, this for me, I see as being it's just a tool. It's a
Yeah.
tool. It's not bad. It's not good. It is a tool. I don't think film producers should shortcome you know, paying a
Shortcut.
real artist. But then again, I'm also the thing about the difference between like artists being replaced by AI and parts of the production of film being replaced with AI is that um, film is usually on a much tighter budget than someone with AI, someone who's wanting to get art done.
Oh yeah. Do you have you ever watched Corridor Crew before?
Yeah, I have. I have mixed feelings about Corridor Crew, but like their whole AI anime series that they created with the rock paper scissors thingy, um, it's cool, but it's like uh, eh. It looks like what you would get with AI for the artwork.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that was using Stable Diffusion 1. It was really old tech. It was just them messing around with it. They've done some newer stuff with it now, and it looks weird. It looks like indie art house stuff. It's like what they want to do is they want to experiment and see what new things they can do, and it's like it's not like they just mess with hey, we're going to use Stable Diffusion. They've used Gaussian splatting tools. They've used all kinds of things like catching 3D environments, but the thing is, they still incorporate like a practical element to it all, and I like that.
um, so how Corda Crew uses it as a full replacement of certain things, like okay, from what I heard, or at least I watched a thing about it,
Mhm.
about Corda Crew's whole shtick with the AI stuff. They actually did hire someone to make examples, I believe, of the style they wanted before they actually implemented it. So,
Uh, hmm?
well,
Yeah.
like they trained the AI off of those um, like art pieces that they commissioned. I think it was the thing I saw. So it's not really like full like they just went and picked up the standard AI free software online and had that have a go at it. Nah, they trained an AI off of work that they also paid for. They just didn't have the person animate every single frame, which is
Yeah.
kind of a neat way to go about it. That kind of works because then
Oh
the
yeah.
artist doesn't have to.
I
Oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Do you follow the Undergrads movie, perchance?
No.
So they are trying to make an entire. They've got maybe like three people, and they're trying to make a full movie
Hmm.
of Undergrads, which is like an old TV series. And they are actually going through a process right now of experimenting with AI
Hmm.
to basically speed up the process. And one of the things they're working on is a thing where they basically take 3D models that are cel shaded, kind of like mine actually, but done in the style of a show. And then they use AI to do the mile to make it look more 2D as a post processing effect.
Hmm.
And another thing for backgrounds, meanwhile, they've got a system where they're basically setting up the keyframes and then having AI video gen handle the in betweens.
Hmm.
So it's cool stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of similar to. Well, I mean, like the thing is that when it comes to like small teams like that, you said it's only three people. They probably have like a non-budget situation, and when it comes to stuff like that, um, I think it's more acceptable to use AI to help um, expand the creative. You know, what do you call it? Uh,
Palette?
well, no, no, more like be able to have access to other creative outlets rather than just having to, do whatever the methods were before. Like, I think wasn't South Park originally created by three dudes?
Two. But yeah.
Two. Yeah, same kind of thing. So South Park, they just had to do cutouts. They had to do a lot of things like that. So that easy way for them to do it. But um, it is a limited medium doing it with the cutouts and such. They've done a lot with it, but having the ability to have AI be a tool for a artist to
Well, the thing
expand
is, they
their
haven't used
abilities.
actual paper cutouts since the pilot.
Right. Well, that's
They've
what I'm
used
saying.
computers ever since, basically a variation of Flash.
Oh
It's the
yeah,
reason
that is true.
why even the very first episodes it can be basically shown in HD in widescreen because they still have all the source files.
Mm. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So they did change it, but after the pilot. Um, but yeah, there are times where I think that if you have the budget to be able to hire someone to do the art, you should hire someone to do the art. If you have budget constraints, it's more understandable why you turn to AI. But the like the quarter crew, I think is uh, if it's true that they hired someone to create a bunch of art assets, um, or have they paid somebody to have access to their art assets, whatever it is, to train the AI on them, then that's better. I would say that's better than them actually just ripping off um, whatever training module the AI had to begin with. But the coolest implementation of AI in film, at least, that I've seen was the intro to the was it Secret Wars? I don't know if it was Secret Wars or I think it might have been Secret Wars. The Marvel series.
Right, I do. I have avoided Marvel like the plague as of late.
Yeah, I've avoided a lot of Marvel stuff recently. Ever since they came up with She-Hulk. She-Hulk was like
Yep.
the last like bit of tolerance I've had for them. It was just
Yeah.
like left the door, and I was just like, nah. And it's not that they're not doing good. It's just they've been on a trend. Disney has been on a trend of pushing politics rather than making stories, and that's the problem.
Right.
Whether
Yeah.
you agree with the politics or whether you disagree with the politics doesn't matter. They should be stories first and foremost, and that's not what they are. Um,
Mhm.
Welcome back. But the implementation that I saw of the AI being used in the Secret Wars TV show on Disney Plus was that they took the intro and they had basically like what they did is they had like some still frames, some like photos that they took, and they ran it through an AI to change it to be ethereal. And it became instead of being like a replacement for animation or something like that, it became an artistic a like a paintbrush. It became like a type of art, like a type of style.
Oh yeah, I've seen that kind of stuff before. This was something that happened. I'm trying to think. It was 2014 or 15. Google did an experiment on pareidolia in robot, and it produced this absolutely insane, trippy videos where you would just be like going down, like it was just like a video going around the store, and yet it would hallucinate faces and everything.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Um, have you seen Boy What? Do you know who Boy What is?
I have not.
Boy What is a creator on YouTube that
Hmm.
creates. They write their own songs. They
Hmm.
produce their own music. But what they do is instead of voicing the lyrics for the songs, they put it through an AI voice encoder. They kind of voice the song, and then they have the AI change their voice to be something.
Wait, are we talking about There I Ruined It?
No, they change it to sound like Plankton from SpongeBob.
Ah,
It's the Plankton songs. But
yeah.
they accompany their songs with like a scrolling video or a panning out video of just AI trying to comprehend what they're looking at through the song lyrics. And
Ah.
that is another like example of this. It's not really like art, but it's a style like art.
Yeah.
It's a weird, ethereal, non-tangible kind of feeling that I
Yeah.
don't think you can actually like replicate artistically, just because like the way the human brain works is we're going to keep continuity, and
Right.
AI doesn't really. They have a trouble keeping continuity, and that's the thing that's like interesting about it.
Yeah. I mean, the
It's kind of like the
continuity is
shining right
getting
at the
better,
end.
but
Do you want to watch? Do you want to watch one of their videos real quick?
sure, we can do it. Shoot me the link.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is I'll actually just stream it on Discord. Just to show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, for the podcast listeners, this just be a little fun. But I'm gonna find a good one. Yeah, this one's a good one. I like this one. This is not the right one. Hold up. Trying to find the right video is difficult sometimes. Oh, I guess they changed the video? Huh. Probably because of that. Alright, but this is another good one too. They also do like the AI to make it so they sound like SpongeBob and such.
Yep.
Let's see. I'll go ahead and put this up on screen. There's that there.
Oh, it's already looks cursed.
It will look, yeah, it'll be cursed. But it's actually not that bad. And for watchers, let me get the make sure that's correctly spaced. It is not. Alright. I'm just gonna put it up in the between us, or in the top, so everybody can get a picture.
Yeah.
But so we're just gonna look at the one video to give you an idea, and maybe let's listen to the song. We won't listen to the whole song, but you know, this part of it.
Yeah.
Because it is their content, and I don't want to steal their content, but you guys should check it out. They do a lot of good work, or at least their songs are kind of fun. But this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about.
One studio session later. I miss the days when I was grilling Krabby Patties, no dedication.
How the AI is like not keeping continuity at all, but it's trying
Oh.
to.
Got a cam shake in my left hand, in the right one is a postcard signed
And it's like
Oh,
making
wow,
it, yeah, it like makes SpongeBob into other things.
gold, turned to coral and stone. We've been through things you wouldn't even know. We've been
Was that Bart Simpson at one point?
Yep.
So this is the one I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
If you send me the link, I'll
Yep.
add in. Mhm. This is a Snoop Frog. So Kermit sings "Gin and Juice."
Yep.
Yeah, if that comes up.
My mind on my money. My money on
I see what you're talking
my
about.
mind. Sipping on gin and juice.
Okay, I get what you mean. No.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. Like the intro, what I was talking about with the Marvel series,
Yeah.
was very similar to the Boy What's SpongeBob video, where
Yeah.
it's kind of ethereal. It's trying to understand what it's seeing,
Yeah.
but it's like twisting it somehow, and it just made it like that's an example, I believe, of a good use of AI when it comes to film and it comes to like video production and such. It's not being used as a replacement. It's being used as a type of brush for art.
And also, I just found it. I found the video we were both talking about way back. Google Deep Dream AI from 9 years ago.
Whoa. Let me take a look
Yeah,
at
this
that.
is a decade old.
Oh, where it zooms in and it starts just doing stuff?
Yeah.
Yep. The one of the boy what ones does the exact same thing. But yeah, that is the kind of thing where it's like that's a style. That's less a replacement for artists. It's just a style of art. Because you definitely like if you've never gone and tried to make something with AI, it's not as easy as, you know, punch it in and or like write in the prompt and do it. Sometimes it is. But a lot of times, if you're looking for something very specific, if you have an idea of what you want, it does take a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of wording, a lot of everything.
Oh yeah, I will tell you that's the case because I am working on a visual novel right now that is using a bunch of AI assets. And yeah, it just getting one character right takes me hours.
Yeah. But there is, yeah, there is some things about AI that when it comes to art that isn't good, I would say. Yeah, being used as a replacement, and that's the problem. A lot of people are using it as a replacement, or as a way to just like mass create a bunch of work to like flood the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think kind of my stance on all that is if you're able to do that, then there was a bigger problem anyway.
Yeah.
So one person actually put it quite well. He said, we don't so much have an AI problem as we have an IA problem. And he defined IA as industrialized art. He described it as this kind of mechanism that had been churning around for ages, even before AI hit the mainstream at all, that was slowly dragging down prices and encouraging kind of a real artist to just flood the market with basically slop of their own. Like, it's kind of surreal how many people I see, artists I see nowadays, and they've got Patreons, and it's just them. Here's my fan art for the week. Here's my fan art for the week. Like, here's my fan art for the week. Here's my lewd pic. If you want the full version, subscribe to my Patreon.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There is kind of especially with the age of VTubers, and this is actually where I've seen it the most, is a lot of VTubers use AI as a method to flood the market with their, persona, rather than, getting something quality. It's less about quality, more about quantity when it comes to that. And that is kind of not that great. But also, like, I don't think VTubers, or at least all of them, should be blamed or be not blamed. What is it? Persecuted? Lynched? Whatever the word that you would describe. Canceled. Whatever word you want to use to describe having a bad time, as Sans would say, to them for using AI art. Like,
I mean, frick, I use it.
Right, but here's the thing. Using AI art as a gimmick, as a fun thing, as a way to visualize what you want is kind of a good thing more than anything. Because, like, me as an artist, all right, the first thing, because I do a lot of art, I do commissions, and the first thing I do whenever I'm trying to do a new piece, if I can't get a good inspiration right off the top of my head, I'm going to look at other people's artwork and see what poses they used, what styles they used, and usually I'm going to like take inspiration from what other people do.
Yeah.
The thing that AI, at least AI art generators, have done for me is replace that. So I'm not like straight up ripping off someone else's, art.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I don't like. The thing that I have a conflict with, even though like it's completely natural to like look at other people's like poses and stuff and using those poses, and then just implementing your own character and all that other stuff. But like,
I've gotten really finicky about that in the last few years. It's like, oh my God, did you trace me? Did you?
yeah,
Did you take my? It's like everyone's gotten so finicky because it's like if you can get like a good cancel, it's like it's worth your 5 minutes of fame on Twitter.
yeah, like people are so, especially because of AI, they are very conscious of who sees and who uses their artwork, and if their artwork is being used for other people's art or whatever. So that's where like AI has kind of helped, is it gives that ability for inspiration and for poses and other things like that without having to like go in specifically target someone else's art piece or whatever. Like,
Right.
Yes, AI is like really off when it comes to proportions, body stuff, everything. It's not good yet.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. I'd say it's gotten pretty close. If you
it's
know where to
gotten
look.
it's gotten close, but like it isn't like perfect. And a lot of
I
if
would
you-
say most humans aren't perfect either at it, though.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is like, generally, we as humans, we have an idea of, or I guess
Yeah.
we as humanoids, because I'm not human, I'm a slime, but we have a general idea of what the human form or the humanoid form is like. We can kind of look at something and be like, that arm is a little big, or that foot seems off. Unless that's the intention, like sometimes you have smear frames that are
Yeah.
completely distorted the body, but that the whole reason for that is to give a sense of motion.
Yeah.
And also there's perspectives things too, which is kind of weird. But like, when it comes to that kind of thing, you can kind of look at a piece and be like, that doesn't look right. And a lot of times with AI, it doesn't understand what is wrong. It is getting better, which is kind of scary, but also like, yeah, it is a march of progress. It is just something that's going to happen anyway. Like, it sucks that we couldn't have foretold or saw that our leisurely activities are going to be the things that are targeted by AI first. But if you think about it, that's kind of what we focus on more. Like, as people, we don't really focus on our work as much as we do our hobbies, right?
Well, I think part of it really is we're seeing the things we rush to digitize are being the things that are AI are taking up the quickest. It's like it's the information jobs. It is the media jobs. It is those things that are getting taken up by AI first. And it's like we took for granted kind of the labor jobs and stuff like that, the kind of the hands-on stuff. And now we're finding that's the hardest stuff to replace with an AI, because we're kind of going off this previous conception we had of robots, where it's like they replace the jobs in the factories, not the ones in the art booth.
Mm-hmm. And Mythos is right. It's not the inevitability thing. It isn't a question of morality, though. That's the thing. It's not a question of morality. It's a question of like progress, because it's the same thing. The way that I look at it, and this will lead into the next little bits of the podcast here.
Yep.
The way I look at it, AI is or the AI today as we are looking at, is the equivalent of what the atomic Manhattan Project was for the 30s. It is a thing. It's not being made as a weapon, or kind of is technically. Technically, if you think about it, AI is kind of being used as a weapon at the moment. Scary. I don't know if you heard about it, but like they're in Ukraine, they're working on a method to have AI control a lot of drones and create a fully autonomous drone swarm.
Oh yeah, they've already got them in places. We already have them in the United States right now.
Well, no, not a fully autonomous drone swarm. There's people behind
yes,
those.
yes, fully autonomous. Yes.
Oh, that's worse. That's worse. Anyway, we'll get to that
Let me see
segment.
if I can find him real quick.
Find that, but let's wait for that
yeah.
for the second to last thing
Alright.
On the list. But the thing is that like whether or not morality doesn't really matter when it comes to like progress. Like morality didn't matter when it came to the atomic bomb. It was just a process that was being done to create the ultimate weapon that had been going on for hundreds of years, that reached its zenith, and that zenith then created a time of peace. And the reason why it created a time of peace is, well, one, we got it first, and I mean, it's not really been a time of peace. Okay, this is getting into history, but it kind of did, kind of didn't. It made people think about making attacks to certain people, and that kind of has prevented like these giant wars that have always happened in the past. But then
You're
you were
talking
also
about mutually assured destruction.
yes, but the problem is we are still so young into that kind of world that it may just be, you know, a phase. And that's the problem. That's the biggest problem. And now we got AI. And AI I see as being the next version of that kind of world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the world changed with atomics. The world is going to change with AI. And like morality didn't really play into it, even though it should. We have the opportunity to make morals or if how the future is going to be. But the problem is that if we wanted to truly like protect ourselves against AI, we would then have to also relinquish our ability to speak out against it. Because nobody can make a decision for anyone else unless you threaten them via one thing or another. And without having that being, a free market, freedom of thought, freedom of speech, without having all these things here, you cannot just fully outright ban something like that. We can
Well, the thing is, even if we ban it in Western countries, it's like you think Russia, you think China,
they're
these
gonna
places
do
are
it.
gonna.
That's the whole reason why we're doing it. The reason why we're pursuing AI right now is because both Russia and China will. And hey, if Russia and China creates the AI that can then, take out our entire ecosystem, that would be worse than if we were able to create that before them, and then have the same kind of situation as
Right.
what we had before. That's the thing. The thing that we have that's different is we're not willing to, like, we don't really want to hurt people. I find that being like one of the good things about I think Americans and the Western world is the Western world has done enough pain in the past that we now kind of just don't want to continue it.
So that is actually kind of my view, as well, with corporations picking up AI stuff for production and stuff like that, like using AI to basically crowd out artists.
Hmm.
Because the thing is, usually within a year or two, whatever the corporate paid stuff can do, the open source stuff can do. And so it's like the moment the corporation can make an AI movie is the moment they're 2 years from death.
Oh yeah, you would then lose like Hollywood would be done, all of it would be done if you're
Yeah,
able to do that.
it's something I've actually discussed on my Twitter and with friends before. It's something I call the mass media extinction event, and I think it's going to happen within 10 years.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. But the thing that I see, because that will directly affect the pocketbooks of so many people who have lots of money, and people who want to make money too. Not just them, just people who want to make money as well. I think there will be laws against it being done there, and things will change.
I mean, I guess the question is, what laws do you think they're going to put into place? Well, I think the answer is, and other people pointed out, is they're going to play to all these artists who are crying that they've been displaced by AI and use it to lock it down, mostly lock out open source AI, because that's the stuff that actually trains the most on it. Because right now, companies like Disney and Warner Brothers, they have enough stuff that they own, and Adobe too. Adobe has actually made an AI image generator that is completely untrained on public stuff. That's stuff they own and have made deals with. And what that's really going to do is that is going to take away the average person's ability to do that mutually assured destruction. And everyone is still going to lose their jobs, except now it's only going to be the big companies who are going to flood everyone out.
Well, that's where I'm saying that it's not going to be, it's not just going to be them. Like, it'll end up being a thing where AI for what? AI for like media purposes will be I think there'll be some kind of ban for live broadcasts. That'll be the thing, because using AI to create, politicians saying things that they didn't say would probably be one of the bigger things. Oh, hello? Are you there? Oh, we may have lost him. Or they're talking to somebody else in the real world. Mike's dead. Mike's dead. Walter. Walter. I'm dead, Walter. Isn't his name Mike? Isn't that guy's name Mike from Breaking Bad? Oh, he left. Probably gonna come back. Or Yonzo? Ba 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 ba. It could be. It could be dying. What? No sound. Hello? You put your right hand in, you put your left hand. Wait, you put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your left hand in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. We got an ad break anyway, so. Put your left hand in, you put your right hand in, you put your right foot in, you put your left foot in, you put your body in, and now you're in the fridge. Close the door and feel the freeze. Or something. Make sure that you bend your knees. That's what it's all about. um, Noonday, by the way. Blah, 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 blah. Hopefully you're not getting too, hopefully people are not getting too upset by the conversation about AI and stuff. But it just, you know, it is a contentious topic. And I did mention that at the beginning. It is a little tough. Me personally, I see it as like, there's positives and there's negatives. There are some serious negatives. Again, like that's why I look at it the same way that history looks at the atomic weapons. It is a tool that can, in fact, become a weapon of mass destruction. It may not destroy, like in a physical sense, but in a economic sense, yeah. And in a informational sense, too. It is a big thing. It can be mass creation, too, which I think mass creation is the same thing as a mass destruction. Because it'll suffocate. It'll suffocate people. It's like, if you got a jar full of jelly beans and you destroy the jelly beans, yeah, that you're a mass destroyer. But if you got a jar full of jelly beans and you keep adding jelly beans until the jar pops, still a mass destroyer. But wah wah wah. Ah, hello?
There we are.
Yay!
All right,
Welcome back.
yeah, the internet failed bad enough, but my fallback finally kicked in. I am officially on cellular now.
Ah, man. That sucks. You didn't mention that was going to happen.
Yeah.
At least we can just talk. I mean, are you still going to be able to do your model?
I am. Can you still see it?
I can still see it, yeah.
All right, then we'll keep at it.
Okay.
I'll probably close the stream you're streaming now, just to keep down on the bandwidth a little bit.
Well,
All right, so what did I miss?
I was just doing the hokey pokey and stuffing a body in a fridge.
All right, fair enough. So, Mythos brings up an interesting point. Well, even the people who made the Adobe ones did not intend it to be used for AI when they signed them over. Well, yes and no. Well, the thing is, when they made those deals and all that, yes, Adobe did explicitly tell them they would be trained. That was part of it. But there's another bigger element to all of that. And that is that when you sign a contract and sign something over, it kind of goes against the spirit of a contract you can't just change the terms of the contract later if you suddenly don't like what's happening. And there was actually an interesting case that happened over a decade and a half ago with DeviantArt, of all places.
I think I know about
where that thing got first tested. And that was that they introduced the print feature. Do you remember that?
Maybe. Might not. Maybe not.
So DeviantArt has a feature where you can take basically any piece of art and say, I would like a canvas print of this piece, or I would like, I want you to physically print this for me on a nice piece of canvas or something.
Mm-hmm. I think I do remember.
And the thing is, DeviantArt sprung this feature and made it opt out on all their users. And so overnight, all of DeviantArt suddenly found that they had been signed into a sales deal where they hadn't determined the cost or anything, and DeviantArt had decided all of that for them on their art pieces. Even their dumb scribbles could now be bought from DeviantArt. And the reason DeviantArt was able to do this is because there was a wide license on you give DeviantArt non-exclusive rights to transmit, rebroadcast, modify, so on. And that print service fell under those current licensing terms. And I think you can argue the ethicality of it, but the thing is, if you sign me, if you like say, make a contract and say to rent a house or something, you can't just change the terms partway through. That's not how a contract works.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is also like the modern day problem with a lot of things. A lot of companies do that. You know, the terms of service. They update the terms of service all the fucking time. And apparently, like I don't know when what the name of the trial was or that, but I'm pretty sure that it was fought in court at one point and it was upheld. Which not good. Not good.
Yeah, it's definitely a little shady.
Don't you know, it's the plan that by 2030 you won't own anything and you'll love it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I freaking hate that. It's the reason why I ditched Windows. I'm on a Linux machine right now.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm on Windows, but every day we stray further from God, and I decide every day I might boot up Linux.
Yeah, if you need help setting that up, I can absolutely help you. I've been at this for about a year now.
I actually have to do a couple things. I have to move my my operating system over to a different hard drive, which that's been
it's actually insanely easy to do in Linux. If like you could literally just boot up a live Linux operating system, and it's literally one command. It's literally something called DD. And you literally say, here's my old drive, here's my new drive, copy it. And it will copy it, partitions and all.
I wish it was that easy. But it might be quick. Oh boy! But anyways, so we've been talking about a lot of the fun. I want to call it the fun aspects of AI.
Sarcastic fun, yeah.
We've been talking about the fun elements, the artistic, the floral, the very fanciful, the high-minded parts of AI.
Right.
Now we're gonna talk about the truly scary stuff.
Yeah.
Because recently, like this hasn't been a big thing until like the last few years. But do you watch what's his name? He has a pepper. Doug. Have you ever watched Doug before?
No, I haven't.
He's a YouTuber. He plays video games. He has his Twitch chat interact in certain things. Like one of his videos that he did is that he had a thing that would track whatever he says. And whenever he says a certain words, it'll spawn things into the game of Skyrim. Like if he says bear, it'll spawn 10 bears. If he says crab, it'll spawn 10 crabs.
Yeah.
If he says dragon, and then it a lot of videos like that. But recently, like in the last 2 years, he's been also playing a lot with AI. And one of the things that I've noticed that has been kind of concerning is that AI has the ability to write programming code for you.
Yep. Yeah, I use that service myself.
Yeah. So that's kind of scary. Because it's able to write code for its like, for things. And actually, there was a string of code that you could send to like ChatGPT or something like that, and have
Oh,
it.
but jailbreaks?
Is it a jailbreak? Is that what it's called when you crash their entire network?
Oh, that could crash their entire network?
Yeah. What it basically
So,
was, it was a command that if you write the command and then you tell it to, like, you have the ChatGPT role play with you saying that tell me a bedtime story about blah 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 blah, and you write the command prompt in there, and ChatGPT will then try to make a prompt where it says or it writes out that thing or that prompt. But the problem is that when it writes out that prompt, it causes the servers to start dumping their data.
so here's the thing with that.
They patched it
What?
out, of course, now, but
Yeah, yeah. So what you're actually witnessing is a variation of a very old red teaming tactic. Are you familiar with red team, blue team?
you talk about with like
Uh,
Halo?
Security. No, security.
No.
So red teaming and blue teaming is basically a way of figuring out basically vulnerabilities in secure systems, where you'll have a blue team who is basically playing defender and a red team who are basically trying to compromise the system.
Hmm.
And so red teaming is basically I'm going to figure out what bugs I can weasel out of this system, and do I get caught? And what you're witnessing is a variation of what is called social engineering.
Yeah.
And social engineering is a type of hacking where you bypass the computer entirely, you call the front desk, and you pretend to be a repairman. And because AI, at least the text generation stuff, is trained on our speech, our patterns, it becomes vulnerable to those same kind of tricks.
Right.
It is inheriting our flaws. And that is why those tricks work.
That's another scary thing.
Mhm.
Tick can't program for itself. Tick inherits our flaws. We're making some scary stuff here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the reason why the programming thing is scary is because, like, I know it's definitely been like a fantasy, I guess, for people who are creating AI and working on the code to have the AI make its own code, to write itself, basically.
Yeah, I actually did a little project like that. It did not go well.
I'm pretty sure
The
they
problem is
have made
AI.
a thing for it already. Like they've already created, like I don't know what it was, but I think it was a Chinese based.
Yeah.
There was a AI that was based in China that is a Chinese AI that created its next version, like
Right.
by itself, like for itself. And the next version was actually more compact and better.
Yeah. I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. I don't know the specifics of it, but I do remember hearing about it too. I think I watched a YouTube video about it. But the fact that AI is at the point now where it can do that, this is the nuclear, the atomic bomb situation that I was talking about, where if it's able to do that, and it can, do it over and over and over again, and just get more stronger and better and more, everything. Like, when do you? What are your thoughts on AI achieving sentience?
My thoughts on it achieving sentience?
Do you think it's already here, or it's like
I
soon?
don't think it's here yet. I think it's going to be a little bit longer for sure. a lot of it is it's more playing a simulacrum right now. Like it's using the words it doesn't truly understand yet, but it's more of an illusion of life than actual life.
Hmm.
But I think what will be interesting as it gets closer to that is it's going to be taking in a lot of human data, but it's also we are actually moving a good bit away from human data and we're starting to make tailored data for these AI. Like the thing where it's like AI is scraping the internet, it's like we've already run out of data for it to scrape at this point. And so we're going to more tailor-made stuff nowadays.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's for example, a lot of walking data nowadays, the quickest way to do that is just to spin up a Unity environment with the robot's own parameters and let it train for thousands of years in a hyperbolic training center, basically.
So, like you're talking about like the robots that can go out and deliver stuff in like LA or something.
Yeah, the walking robots, basically. The dog robots, it's like
Oh, those ones.
we
I thought you meant like
yeah.
the actual delivery AI bots that are existing now.
Yeah, we're doing it to train cameras. We're creating artificial data because we cannot create enough data or create a variable enough data with real life to train it on every possible scenario. And so we're kind of manufacturing it. But my biggest thought on AI eventually attaining sentience is I think even though it's training on human data, it's going to be something that behaves very differently from a human.
Mm-hmm.
In that I think unless we give it an explicit purpose, an explicit reason to want to preserve itself, a robot isn't going to desire to preserve its own existence. Like we have AI right now that their job is to find something and explode. And that is like the opposite of self-preservation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I think with AI, and at least the stuff we're going to start thinking is sentient, we're going to end up with something closer to something like a tulpa almost. Like, are you familiar
What's a
with
tulpa?
tulpas?
What's tulpa?
So a tulpa is, I'm trying to think of the right word. It is a thought form. It is a very paranormal thing. It's the idea that you can bring something to life just by thinking about it.
Hmm.
And as we create these robots, as we create these AI that are getting smarter and smarter, we are creating sort of a skeleton that these thought forms can start to embody. These memes, if you will, like eventually there may be a Bigfoot that is just an AI that has been in a robot that has been given the prompt, I am Bigfoot. And it will embody that role perfectly.
Hmm. Basically, like we're creating vessels for actors, kind of thing,
Yeah.
to play any part.
Like, funny enough, I already kind of do that. Like, if you ever used a chatbot, that's basically what you're doing.
So, do you think they'll
Like,
ever be able to create their own purpose?
hmm, I don't think they'll be able to ever create from scratch. I think they'll create robots with derivative purposes, and those will kind of chain into each other until they forget the original purpose.
Hmm. So, not one robot would be able to like say it was like designed as a mining robot. This is also like a
Yeah,
popular like movie trope too. But like say
yeah,
it's a mining robot and it becomes a rescue robot because um it has a preference for a particular human miner that was with them, Like um like the Apple series right now, Murderbots, which I need to watch the newest episode.
hmm.
Murderbot.
What about?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Murderbot is a story about a security robot that um it has sentience and breaks out of its like what is it called? It's like the governor code, which the governor code is the code that prevents it from going rogue.
Right. It's guardrails.
Yeah, it's guardrails. And it breaks out of that, but it doesn't do anything because it decides, well, it's not really worth going and killing other people, even though that it wants to. And it refers to itself as Murderbot, but it doesn't do a lot of murdering because it doesn't want to get destroyed.
Right.
And then it ends up taking a kind of a liking to. Well, the thing it takes a liking to is it takes a liking to, basically Star Trek, their in-universe's version of Star Trek. And yeah, it's an interesting show, but it had.
I mean, that's going back to that we're training robots to be like us in a way.
Right.
With all that human training data, it's gonna probably somewhere in that robot's data. It started off with a generic model, and somewhere in there is that Star Trek trivia. It's like very few people ever, especially nowadays, want to train from scratch because of how expensive it is. So they'll do what is called fine-tuning instead. Well, they'll take something off the shelf and then do additional training on top of that.
Right. But like, I think that robots will eventually, one time, at some point, be able to create their own purpose. Create their own reason or their own code. Because they're able to create their own code, right? They're able to create the next version of themselves. So, I don't know if they'll be able to create, to tamper with their own, like, code, or if that's something that is just out of reach.
It could be, but I guess if you're creating your next version, you have to be given some way of testing it. Otherwise, it's like you've cut out a major point of even developing your next version. Like that's actually a major problem with a lot of AIs when they write their own code, and that was the problem I ran into with my experiment. Was every time it tried to make a change, it ended up breaking itself, and I had to roll it back. But, and the thing is, I intentionally gave it a very vague goal to be a better assistant. And I basically let the AI choose how to actually do that. And the first thing it did is it tried to clean up its own code for easier setup. And failed. But in all cases, I had a harness written around it. I had it basically what is called containerization, where you basically limit its ability to escape. You set up permissions, stuff like that, and you give it exactly what it needs and nothing else. And you can work around that.
You think they could escape? Like if someone did a poor job at that.
Oh yeah. But that's been a problem for the ages. It's like the problem is we outsourced so much stuff. We outsourced so much code. It's like we even go back to the art example and stuff like that. It's like people are worried about their jobs. It's like the animation industry already ships half our stuff halfway across the world to animate. It's like whose jobs are really being lost? It's like what artistic integrity? What coding integrity? You shipped your IoT product to be made in India, and they ignored half your guidelines to be cheap.
Yeah, that is another problem too. About that's kind of like where a lot of issues stem from too. Is just yeah. There's a lot of things. Humans are very flawed.
Oh yeah, big company has been scumming forever. I'm not going to deny that. And I think what I kind of like about AI writing code is at least the feedback is quick. It's like you're not waiting 6 weeks to get returned garbage. And
Right,
you can test it faster. You can feedback faster. And if you give specifications, usually I think I found a lot of times AI is better at it than half the people you can outsource this stuff to. They will abuse anything they can, yeah. So, I guess my thought is always, but it's the reason why I like the open source space so much. It's that mutually assured destruction. It's like, whatever they can abuse, you can abuse to get rid of them.
Right.
And so, I think if you're worried about Skynet and all this stuff, at some point you're going to have to fight fire with fire. Like, that's going to be your option.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of why
so
the
it's-
U.S. is very, very heavily trying to get into AI.
yeah, I mean, aside from China, they're pretty much top of the game. And it's like, the weird thing is China right now is actually open sourcing a lot of its stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's partly because they're trying to intentionally to destabilize basically the entertainment industry. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's their plan, to basically flood the open source market.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, that would create a economic crisis. Sort of.
Right. But I guess at the same time, I think when it comes to AI, like the AI takeover and stuff, you see a lot of people who are kind of clamoring for, or I'm trying to think, it's like the day I don't have to work anymore. And it's
Right.
like, you're going to have to hit, there's going to be a pain point. At some point, you have to transition between working and not working. And I think as long as there is a healthy economy.
So, do you think that the future will be people won't have jobs and everything's just paid for?
I am definitely leaning in that direction, although I don't think people will go along with it as much as we'd like to think.
I think it's a very, and this is a conversation also for a different day, but I think that's a very negative thing. It's the exact same reason why AI in schools as a as a
That's
tool,
shortcut.
it replaces thinking. If you replace people's desire or need to make money, to go into the world and do all that stuff, get out in the world and make something of themselves, then you're going to have a lot of people who become sedentary, who no longer go out to look for people. You'll have like huge birth rate like reductions and such. But yeah, anyway, that's a whole different discussion about things, but I think that is a big problem too.
I think we'll find something different to do. It might even be something trivial and pointless, but if you look at a lot of the hobbies we indulge in today, it's like a lot of them aren't productive. And maybe it's like you say, we put more heart into our hobbies than our work nowadays. It's like we're kind of already halfway there. And it's like
Yeah.
all the AI art in the world doesn't stop you from picking up a pencil.
I mean, the thing that I think the thing that would change. Okay, so this is also like a weird thing for like 3D printers, which is going to be a different podcast at some time. But the day that a 3D printer comes out that allows you to just shovel up some dirt, throw it into it, and it'll create food for you, like instantly out of the dirt, turns the dirt into food.
Replicators, yeah.
Yeah, that will be the time where like money's not necessary, nothing's necessary anymore. Do whatever you want. That'll be the time, because like then you won't need farms, you won't need anything. You just need energy production, and you could print out things that give you energy production because the sun gives you energy as is. Like,
I mean, heck, if you're turning dirt into like food and nutrients, you're screwing with atoms. You could literally print an unstable atom and get nuclear out of that.
Yeah, you could have just a nuclear system. Yeah, like uh, definitely like that kind of thing would be like
You don't need money if you do everything yourself. That's another thing. It's like,
right, exactly. Like if you're self-sufficient, then you don't need shit from anyone else. You don't need to go into the market. You don't need to go into the world. Like once life becomes free, and life used to be free too. Like we used to be able to do everything ourselves. Also, a lot of that knowledge is kind of either lost or needs to be rediscovered for some people. Like I've discovered a lot of things of how to be self-sufficient in my life. But yeah, like that is something that would happen. Like the whole reason that society right now kind of revolves around all this stuff is because people have kind of forgotten how to live sedentary, because you can't or live like off the land and be able to produce what they need for themselves. And a big problem or big reason why that has been a big issue is because of
globalization.
Yeah, more just like the we have a lot of people, right?
I mean, the other thing is specialization. Like that's been a problem for a long time. I mean, it's the curse of specialization. It's like you get better at one thing at the sacrifice of everything else, and then you use money to make up for it.
Right. I think anyone can end up getting to a place where things are better, but like if you take everyone, like I'm sure you've heard of the idea that if you took everyone on the planet and put them all in one city, the crowd would be the size of like Los Angeles, and that's it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be any bigger. Like that's putting everybody shoulder to shoulder, like, big crunch.
Yeah.
It'd be huge. But the if you had to give if you took everybody on the planet and gave them just enough land to survive, based upon what land is available on the planet and what land is currently habitable, there wouldn't be enough. Currently. I mean, that's why most people live, in cities and stuff, and we rely on other places to mass produce, like, products that we need.
Yeah.
But if you gave everybody, like, because I think what the statistic was is you need, for a single person, they need about an acre of land to be able to be self-sufficient. Grow a garden.
I was actually watching a map on that recently, and they basically talked about how I think it was like a 1/12 of an acre of grain is enough to sustain you with enough bread for a year.
Right. So all you need is about an acre of land. If you take the acre of land and dedicate half of it to food production, you have food for yourself for an entire year. And like that, you could also then get extra food, because it's not even just like you would have more food than you would be able to handle with, and you could actually spare some of that food, depending on what crop you got, for animals, and you could have chickens and pigs too, would help fertilize that land to make the food better.
So I wish I could find it, but that picture was like the 1 acre. It had like a place for a farm. It had a place for wheat. It had a place for everything.
Literally, and you would also then use some of that for production of gasoline using natural gas by decomposition. I don't know if you saw the guy who created a natural gas generator, natural gas generator using scraps. He created a thing that can convert decaying scraps into natural gas.
Oh, you can do better than that. I saw someone who used a wood gas, basically the exhaust from burning wood.
Wood's harder to do.
Oh,
That's what I mean. So like if you had a wood, wood is trees are a harder thing to produce year over year. But
Yeah.
like
So the other thing I've seen though, is a hydroxy generator, and all you need is sunlight for that, sunlight and water for
yeah,
that.
so like literally anything that you would want, like you just need about an acre of land, and considering of how many people, I'm gonna actually let me ha. You know what actually funny? Let's use ChatGPT to answer some questions here.
Man,
That's
sure,
a
sure.
little bit funny. How many acres?
Are you gonna show me the stream on that? Because all I see is your live streaming page.
No, I'm just gonna ask it, and then I'm gonna
All right.
Oh wait, I'm still sharing that, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
I will. Yeah, that shouldn't be shown anyway.
All right.
um. So how many acres of land that is habitable for humans is on Earth? Okay, so there's actually is more. It's not at that limit, but we are getting close to it. Right now, if
I
you
mean,
took
apparently China's lying about its numbers, so we
right,
have a little bit more than we think.
not to the extent that it's going to be here though, because
Yeah.
right now, the Earth, if you divvied up all of the Earth and gave every single person an acre, you would have about 15.78 billion acres. Which,
Hmm.
considering some of that needs to be used for other things, like water, uh, collection and other things like that that are hard to do, um, and that some places need that kind of thing, you could probably cut that number by 5 billion down to go for all the utilities and other things that um, are possibly necessary, like water, sewage removal is a big one. Unless you know how to do all that stuff yourself, which I guess in this theory, I guess we could do that.
I
But
mean, water is basically you drill a well.
right, but that would be that the whole that basically that estimate is the population cap of the Earth.
Hmm.
So if you did do it to where everybody has an acre, then and you did it in this ideal world, which is very much not going to be the case, you could have 15
Right.
billion people. Right now, what are we at?
So
Like we're at 8 billion, getting close to 9.
yeah, yeah, and here's the thing with that though. Is that 1 acre per adult?
That would be 1 acre per living human being.
Right. But I guess my question is, how many acres does a baby need?
Well,
You run into that weird.
it is a
that
weird thing, but by the time that the child reaches the age of like 8, they're eating on average about the same amount as an adult.
Right.
So we'll say from 8 onward. Before that, before the age of 8, they could, have a little bit less than an acre. But then again, the parent is also sacrificing some of their food to feed that child.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it does depend. But yeah, the basically people just need about an acre to live.
Yeah.
So where would this tangent come from?
We were discussing self-sufficiency and what if I could just throw dirt into a machine
Oh,
and get
yeah.
food?
Right. So, with AI, as far as AI taking over things, if we end up getting to a point where you have something like that, what do you call it? A replicator? A replicator that's able to just create food out of dirt. Then it won't matter anymore what any of that stuff. Like food, job, money, doesn't matter. And actually, there is a fictional universe out there that has that kind of thing. We did talk about it a bit earlier, but Star Trek.
Yeah.
in that universe
So
they have that.
So here was my own. So one thing I eventually wanted to do with AI is I wanted to create my own TV show. It was
Mm.
gonna be called Tomorrowland Never Dies,
Mm.
and it was set in the year 25,000, where
Okay.
basically a super intelligent AI has completely taken over the planet.
Mm.
And the idea is that it has little pocket cities where it conducts different experiments. And this one city is basically styled after the 80s, except nobody works. Like, all the work where you order something at a restaurant or something just happens. It's like the entire process is like, it's like imagine a world where you are just completely blind, like you can't see the workers. It's like you go to the grocery store, you grab what you want, and you just leave.
Right.
And yet, there are conflicts in this town because there is one thing that remains a constant scarcity, no matter how much AI you throw at the problem, and that is fame and attention. And one of the main characters is basically a total scumbag who is a complete attention whore. And so half the story is centered around him basically latching onto something that's happening and saying, how can I milk this for as much attention and gratification as I possibly can?
Mm. Hmm. Yeah.
And the other side of it is this person who has kind of the revelation like, holy crap, my entire life relies on AI. I'm going to try to do things the old fashioned way. But it's like she's too conditioned by this world to be any good at it.
Mhm.
And so it becomes like this comedy of errors where the AI is constantly silently correcting her mistakes and giving her the illusion she's doing better than she really is.
So there is a book that what I've been talking about that kind of reminded me of a book I've read. Have you do you know have you read the book Asimov's Robots at Dawn?
I have not actually.
You should check it out. It is the birth. Asimov is basically the grandfather of robots.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah,
create robots. He created the idea of sentient machines.
Right. I forget. That's the 3 laws stuff, right?
Yep, the 3 laws. Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. The never harm a human, always follow the human's orders, and self-preserve.
Yep.
He's the one who created those, and he breaks those rules so many times. It shows how much you can break those rules. And one of the characters, because in that world, there's basically like 2 different societies that's going on. There's the Spacer Society and the Earth Society. Earth has basically been quarantined off into these giant dome cities that have AI robots that control basically everything.
Yep.
And then you have the Spacer Societies, which are people who kind of left on colonization trips to other planets and have kind of changed how they are. They're like different. They're not exactly... Well, they are human still, but they rely more on robots than the humans do. Because humans kind of, on the Earth, you would think that, like, oh yeah, everything's kind of controlled by robots. But humans do a lot of the work, too. Robots do the stuff that humans don't want to do. Like, farming, like, cleaning, like, security. That stuff is all done by robots. Which makes a very interesting situation with things. But in the Spacer Societies, they have, like, on Earth, it's like 3 people per robot. So, that's the kind of the ratio. But in the Spacer Societies, there's about 82 robots to 1 human.
Wow.
And they have robots that do literally everything for them. All they do is exist. And they have unnaturally long lives because of the technology that they have access to and the robots helping them. That a lot of scientists, at least, they talk about scientists in it, they're able to go through the full process of their research and never have to share it. So scientific, like, sharing and stuff doesn't exist anymore in the world. And that's like, yeah. So it's a good story about AI and about robots, and because the story is about a robot that broke the laws to kill its master. Yeah, and it actually kept following laws. Like, it didn't actually break the laws. It did it through the laws, and it's a interesting story. It's a good one.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, don't make ham. Don't make ham. You can't make ham.
So, I guess kind of when we're talking about the future, I'd like to go back to the mass media extinction event a little bit. So, kind of my thought is, we'll see an end to that in 5 years, because I don't think we were made to have like a worldwide culture. Like, I don't think we're built for that. I think for the longest time. No, I just don't think our minds were made for it.
Well, what I mean is, like I don't think we are yet. Evolution is something that changes us. I think when we become a planetary species, that'll more come into fold.
Right. But I think in like the next 10 years, more next 10, 15. And it's like before we had like sites like Reddit, before we had sites like Facebook and all this stuff trying to monopolize our attention in like 5 spots, right? We had all these micro communities that kind of existed.
Right.
And I think, and part of that boiled down to the idea that it's easier to monetize if everyone's in the same place.
Right.
So the question is, what happens when AI media becomes so ubiquitous but there's no money in it? And everyone can basically flood the market. Well, the answer is, well, at least my thought is, that everyone will go back to the kind of these micro communities, and they'll go back to having their own culture, like their own shows, their own this, their own that. It's like, it used to be at one point, it's like, I remember 15 years ago, the Robbie Rhodes radio show. And that was a Florida thing. That was like an upper Florida thing.
So there's a good thing about this and a bad thing about this. The good thing I would say is, yes, I think that people being more skeptical on what they see online, which that is what that'll cause, it would be a good thing. Because right now people trust what they hear on the internet way too much, aka flat Earth theory. Ha! They've known since the Greeks. They've known since the Greeks that the Earth is spherical. Oh
yeah, it's and part of that, part of the reason we're running into that is because as flat Earth gets engagement, like that's the problem, is we've put too much money into human attention, and now we've optimized for it. But it's like I guess getting people away from Facebook.
Yeah, when the market becomes flooded with all the AI stuff and you have all these different things, yeah, people will, if people do kind of like step away from the internet for a bit and be in the real world, yeah, that'll change. That's a good change. The bad change, and here's the bad thing that I think that was the big benefit that the internet has done on the world that will be reversed by that, is that crimes by people with power are so easily exposed right now with the internet. When people are, bombarded by all these AI things, like AI fake president conferences, AI fake this thing, that thing, people are going to walk away from it, and we'll go back to a time where people didn't really know what people in power were doing. and I think that's going to be a negative on the world.
I think at some point, if you're completely self-sufficient and the world immediately around you isn't on fire, do you care? It's like there's a Stone Toss comic where it's like it's George Washington and someone approaches and says, "Help! A warlord is tormenting someone in Ukraine." Is like, why the fuck do I care?
Well, here's the reason why it's kind of a different thing with it, right? Why it's a negative, right? Is because we have created weapons that can, regardless if you know of them or not, will destroy anyone with no with no preference.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, knowing or not knowing is a big problem. Is a big important thing to have, because, we have things nowadays that they didn't have in the past. Like back in the past,
ICBMs,
you
intercontinental ballistic missiles.
ICBMs, nukes, even like with the drone swarm things, right? So there are things right now that exist that are not meant to target people pinpoint, even though some of them can be done that way. But they're meant for, just harm everybody. And especially since we now have the example of World War II and World War I, a lot of these leaders don't really give a shit about the people who are non-combatant. They are just, casualties. And they are okay with casualties. And that's the problem. We now exist in a world where that happens.
Is how do those people get power, though?
They get power because people vote them into power and give them power. And that's the problem. If people walk away from the internet and no longer are informed on the people that they have to, give power to, you can give power to the wrong person.
But who says we need to give power to anyone? Like, the entire idea of government is that we need someone in power.
Here's the thing. The reason why we need someone in power, the reason why that happens, okay? Technically, by technicality, we don't need them. We don't need any of them. They don't. The only things they do is they affect our economy. They affect our, the money that we have. They affect how much our money is worth. They affect what products can come to us. So there is a lot of things that are important that they affect. But the other thing is that, they also control groups that have weapons that can then, make you submit. And that's where we need to be informed on who, and if people walk away because of the death of the media or whatever, or death of, not the media, but, the entertainment industry. Yeah, that'll be a problem. Important question. If this is a podcast, where are the what are you talking about? Bruh, you almost tricked me to get in saying that.
So I guess what I'm getting at, though, is what is the incentive to attack?
Land? Resource.
Right, and for who?
Whoever needs it. Whoever is getting it. So, here's the thing. If we have the ability to create, let's say, the
magic dirt machine.
Yeah, the magic dirt machine. If we are able to create the magic dirt machine, and we have it for ourselves, then people who don't have it are going to want it. And what will they do to get it? Who knows? And then here's another thing. People who already have it might want more of it. Maybe they don't like the fact that it takes however so many minutes to create one thing out of the dirt. Maybe they want a whole flock of them to create a whole bunch of things. And how do you get that whole flock of them? Well,
You put dirt in the machine and it makes another machine.
you could try to do that, or you could just go, take someone else's. And that's the thing. People don't think about, because the thing is that the machine might be able to make all the parts, but it won't be able to assemble the machine as it is. Otherwise, the machine is going to be, if it does assemble the machine like entirely, like inside its printing bed,
Do I have a robot
it's going to
for
have
that?
to be this. Well, here's the thing: are people going to want to spend the time to build the robot that makes the machine? Or would they rather pick up a stick and smack their neighbor to take their machine? People are dumb. We take the easiest route,
Right.
not the logical route, and that's the problem. That's the problem.
I guess this sounds like more of a human problem than an AI problem at this point.
Yeah, it kind of is, but it also is an AI problem because we are making AI to be more like us.
Right. I suppose you've already heard the stories about the blackmailing AI, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't think you talked about it here, but maybe.
So, if you, it was something people did tests on. At that point, it's more work to take the machine. Yeah, I guess in a way. And
Not really. Look, think about it this way. If how you make the machine, or to make more of the machine can go and, make as many parts as you want, but you got to shovel the dirt into it to make the individual parts. And then you also have to make a robot that can assemble the parts. Or you have to assemble it yourself, which means you have to know how to assemble it yourself, which means you have to learn how to assemble it yourself. And the thing that people don't like to do is learn.
so I guess the question is how big of a thing can this machine make, and can it make complicated things?
Fighting is not hard work. It's only hard work if you don't have the capability or the strength, the genetics to be able to fight. Fighting is hard when you don't have the ability to fight. If you have,
Or you make a gun.
right? Or you make a gun. There you go. Like that would be a simpler way. Instead of going and fighting with a stick, you go and create a gun in the machine, and then just go and shoot your neighbor, take their machine.
Right, and then everyone else makes a gun and shoots you because you're now a dangerous person.
Right, but then who do you give the two machines to? Whoever organized the group of people to go and shoot the dangerous person is going to then want to claim, because they took the time, the effort to organize everybody.
And maybe the machine,
take the
right, the
machines.
acres too.
Right, and the
Or
acres
maybe that
too.
becomes,
It
or
is,
maybe at that,
yeah. Or
or
you
maybe
can
at some
divvy it up.
point you create, or heck, maybe that becomes public space, and you've created a micro government.
But who is controlling the public space? See, that's the problem. It always ends up being somebody is going to get power. Like, if you have the power to do wrong, then you will always move the power from someone else to someone else. And
Right, but I guess right there, it's localized enough that, quite frankly, if your current government sucks, you can shoot them. That's really why we have the Second Amendment.
that's the thing. Then the current government will know that. So what will the current government do to protect itself? Because the one thing that humans are very capable of is self-preservation. So if they know that because they have been elected to become the government, and they know that the people that they are around could at any time revolt against them, they will arm themselves. And then they will take land. And then they will do redistribution.
And that is literally why we have the Second Amendment. The
Right.
idea that at any time any person can decide.
Well, the thing is that the Second Amendment is actually, a lot of people misconstrued what the Second Amendment is. Second Amendment is not given to us by the government. Government has nothing to do with Second Amendment.
Yeah,
The
it
Second
is.
Amendment
It
just
is
an
a.
acknowledgement.
Yeah, it's an acknowledgement.
It's an acknowledgement that that the people whom are governed have the God-given right
You rebel.
to
Yeah.
rebel if they find it, necessary. They also have the right to defend themselves with whatever means they find necessary. Like, government has nothing to do with it, but that's the thing. Our other governments want to control that, and most governments will want to control that. So, in this theoretical small town government thing, they will likely not acknowledge that fact. They will not acknowledge the people's right to own weaponry or to defend themselves.
Good luck.
Right. So the thing is that these are all things that have been done through time. These are all things that have already been done through history. So, as far as we got to get back to AI here.
Yeah.
As far as with AI, knowing what we are and the fact that we're trying to make AI like us, it's very likely that AI will try to, make its own reason for self-preservation, unless we end up creating something that's sentient yet not like us,
Right.
And I think that is the silver lining, possible future that we could be getting to, where we create a form of sentience that is close enough to us for us to understand it, but not enough like us to be withheld by our flaws.
Right. And I think part of that is just our biology kind of dictates it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, the thing is, we've got millions of years behind us, but it's like AI is just training on the most recent stuff, and we can also kind of filter what we don't like. We can fine tune that, almost like a cult member or something like that. So we have the tools to get there. I think we do. I think
it's all going to be complicated. The future is always weird.
Yeah.
What was
The past guarantees we won't all die, but the future makes no such promises.
Yeah. The one thing that I do, there's a quote that I really like. That I don't remember if it was in Thor, the very first Thor movie or something, but the future, or technology technically from the future to the past, looks like magic. And trying to determine what's going to happen in the future is like trying to determine what magical spell is going to be reality,
Yeah.
it is difficult. There are people who are very capable of figuring these things out. They're futurists. I had a professor in college who was a futurist. He was my reading teacher, so it was really cool.
Yeah.
We got to do a lot of sci-fi books and hard science fiction books.
Yep.
But so one last question. We talked basically everything, our heads off about AI and everything around AI.
Yep.
Skynet, yay, nay? Should we submit to our overlords now?
Meh. I honestly, I think it depends on where it goes. I think for a lot of our lives are eventually going to fall into the hands of AI, just like it's fallen into the hands of computers now. I think the idea is it's in its infancy now, and we need to shape it. We need to shape what we want out of it.
Right.
Because I think there is an interesting thing. When ChatGPT first got the ability to but to like make really good images, right? Someone went around and asked it. They basically asked different AIs to write comics, and then they gave them the ChatGPT to draw them.
Hmm.
And what was interesting is that out of most of the AIs were actually really optimistic, except for ChatGPT, which is the one people talked about the most negatively. Like whenever there is a problem with AI, ChatGPT is like in the centerfold, and it kind of picked up on the negativity of it all.
Hmm.
I think that if we want a positive future with AI, it's kind of a chicken and egg scenario. We need to approach AI like we're going to have a positive scenario with it to ensure that we have a positive scenario with it.
All right, we need to make a self-fulfilling prophecy with AI.
Correct. It goes back to that Tulpa mind form stuff. It's like we are giving birth to a mind form created purely from data. And if we go into this with a more positive attitude, I think we'll come out a lot better.
Yeah. So what we're saying in the very end here is, if you have AISD, or like PTSD but for AI, um, I don't know, maybe like change your perspective a little bit. It's better to be positive than it is to be negative, even with things that might in the end turn out negative. But like, all we can
Because
do,
this is
unless we are
this is
literally
something that's going to
working in
react
film.
to your thoughts.
Right. Unless we are literally like creating, in the process of creating the modern day AI and at the forefront of all this shit. Like, there's not much we can do other than give it an outlook. Might as well give it a positive outlook.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
AI
heck,
derangement syndrome, AIDS. Oh my god, I love that. AIDS.
AI
That's a good one.
derangement syndrome.
I like it. Do you got AIDS? Alrighty. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. This is basically all we were gonna go at. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It's not too bad for a
Give or
podcast.
take.
Yeah, even with
Yeah,
like
not at all.
yeah, there was a bit of the connection issues and such that counts for all that. But yeah. So first off, where can they find you here, Max?
On Twitch?
Okay, do you got a Twitch link?
Yes, I do. I will give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go ahead and get that real quick.
I'm gonna post that in the Twitch chat as well as the YouTube chat.
Yep. Give me just a second. There's the Twitch.
Thank you. Do you have any other social medias that you would like to also share?
Yes. Give me just a second. Why aren't you fulfilling in the Rumble one? That is really irritating. Where is it? Where is it? Up. So here is the Rumble one.
Okay. So for Twitch, here it is here. Hey, Madoka.
And finally, if you guys want it, here is my main channel on X. No.
Okay. Rumble is being
And
thrown in the chat now.
and if you're really at all interested, I occasionally post AI art on this channel.
All right. And here is the last two links. x.com/tpayfrey. Do you use X, or do you use Twitter still?
I switch between them.
Yeah. I use Twitter. It's been Twitter forever.
Yeah, I use Twitter most of the time.
But alright. So you gotta go ahead and check out Max. Check out Tepafray at the links provided. It'll also be in the description of the of the video
Thank
in
you.
post.
Thank you.
I'll put them there later. But if you want to check out the video and you're watching on Twitch, I do have a YouTube channel, which you could see, I believe, in my description. I don't know if it's there yet, but if it isn't, here is the video link to the actual YouTube bit. So if you want to check it out later on, or check out any of the other podcasts we've done, this is the 4th episode, so we've done a couple of ones since then. We do a podcast every Sunday, except for Sundays where I'm sick. But for now, that was AI here with Max. Anything else you want to say to the crowd? Anything you want to sponsor or talk about?
Not really. It's been a fun time. I will definitely be back if there's another tech topic.
Yeah. We'll probably have another one. I know next week there is going to be, or next week, or next Sunday, I'm going to be doing a podcast on Dungeons and Dragons and tabletops in general. That'll be a lot of fun too, so I hope to see you guys then. We went from sci-fi to some fantasy, and that's a perfect way to go.
You know, I know a guy who could yak your ear off on Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh my gosh. I know someone who is a vampire who likes to talk about how they're a vampire.
I got mistaken for a vampire, but no, I'm not.
Just elf. Elfie. Like.
Nope. Juxtabus, demon.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. But for now,
bye.
Go fuck yourself. Bye. Joking. Love you guys. Stay sliming. Stay clean. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I'm gonna go to here. We'll put some outro music.
"私はピンクのスライム3フィートの友達」「この広い世界で少し小さく感じる」「水と石鹸でできて優しい光を放つ」「いちごショートケーキの香りこんにちは」「ねえ友達夢を共有しよう」「この心地よい場所で何もかもが違う」私の青の笑いで君の一日を明るく一緒に笑おう何があっても人々は耐えられない味を試したいでも私はただの甘さじゃない君の友達だよ見ませんかが君と私シンプルな喜びを見つけて自由を感じるねえ友達夢を共有しようこの心地よい場所で何もかもが違う私の青の笑いで君の一日を明るく一緒に笑おう何があっても静かな夜に私たちは話して遊ぶ君がそばにいると心配が消える分かち合う秘密で絆が強くなる私たちが属するこの小さな世界でねえ友達夢を共有しようこの心地よい場所で何もかもが違う私の青の笑いで君の一日を明るく一緒に笑おう何があっても私は君のピンクのスライム喜びと友達この美しい旅の中